5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to ban.
Down for a couple of seconds. It's a good old game connected, has the same old problems. Right now we're going to be having OG versus LeftOneTV, a team which, to the best of my knowledge, should have had Wagamama in it, but instead of that we're going to be having Admiral Bulldog standing in to play up against his former teammate S4. This should be a fun one to say the least. And well, we'll be excited to see what exactly he's going to be playing and how exactly he's going to be playing it. OG have come off after a recent spell of good form over in the DAC qualifiers, where they were able to progress through the entirety of the closed qualifiers without losing a single map, going 2-0 versus every single team there. And they're looking to replicate it over here and get themselves an invite in towards the next major, in towards the EPICENTER XL, that is of course happening in Moscow over in May. In the meanwhile, we're going to be getting into the bans and picks for this one, the draft itself. OG taking out the Pudge, and I'm fairly sure that's not a meta ban. I am fairly sure that is not a meta ban. But Pudge being taken away, and my apologies if that is in fact a ban that, if it is in fact a hero that LOTV likes to go for personally, I'm not entirely sure. I wasn't able to find too much information on them. They haven't really been playing in too many tournaments recently at a very high level to which I would be able to reference, so we're going in slightly blind into this one. Pudge and Admiral Bulldog's Lone Druid have already been taken away. Wouldn't be too surprised if the next ban comes out to be the Nature's Prophet. LOTV taking away Jarax's Earth Spirit, nothing too surprising over there. Maybe even we will see some bans targeted towards Resolution, who's been having a pretty good performance so far. OG though, they've been a bit weak ever since the TI7 run finished. Well, TI7 run was pretty bad itself, but after TI7, they've been a little bit weak ever since the roster moves did come through. Haven't really been seeing their top level at recent tournaments. And well, we're hoping they're going to be able to show us a resurgence over at both DAC and if they're able to qualify, then EPICENTER. But first they need to qualify. And that's why they're here. That's why they're going to be in a group. Interesting grouping done. I think it was random grouping because it seems a little bit lopsided. OG seemed to have gotten the slightly easier group. But at the same time, the secondary team could be absolutely anyone as well. It's anyone's guess really who's going to be able to take it away at the end of the day from all four teams. Right now though, LOTV have mostly been banning out Jarax's heroes, the Elder Titan, the Earth Spirit, and now the now S4's Beastmaster taken out of the pool, and S4's Beastmaster actually goes way back. He's one of the few players who even like playing it down in the middle lane as well. That's actually an interesting ban to see. That's a lot of respect being put on towards S4 as well. Of course, Beastmaster has seen a bit of a resurgence as of recent developments in the metagame, but Tiny picked up on the other side. Probably going to be S4's hero right there and then. So I'm actually very surprised they let Tiny through rather than the Beastmaster itself, but Razor and Tusk will be left in the pool for LOTV to be able to pick up for themselves. Two heroes that have seen their fair share of play in the top level metagame. Razor in particular has been balling out of control in the current patch, and well, Southeast Asian scene itself is prioritizing it incredibly highly too. Tuskar just always been a very good rotating 4-position hero for the past few months, and well, it'll be used in that same position right now to try and put some pressure onto the Chen that has just now been picked up. Seeing the Chen picked up, they immediately respond with a lycanthrope ban, probably because of somewhat tribute to Big Daddy Dota, but also just because of how incredibly good the lycanthrope is and how incredibly easily you can shut out games early on. And that's why you're going to be having a rough time as LOTV if you let that through. So far, they've been banning out a couple of pushing heroes, so wouldn't be overly surprised to see the Death Prophet taken out of the pool as well, while surprisingly enough, OG take the Gyrocopter away from themselves as well. It's a hero that they personally really like to play, especially when Fly can pick up his Rubik and pair up as both the defensive and aggressive lane support. Rubik, of course, also gives you the added benefit that LOTV, if they hadn't already picked up the Tusk, you would be able to dissuade them somewhat from going towards the Clockwork. Clockwork, of course, not really the best of heroes versus the Rubik when it comes to the laning phase at least, but Broodmother will be taken out of the pool by LOTV as well. They don't really want to fight up against that, and who would? Now, back to the bans, and if the trend continues to follow, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see slightly more targeted bans coming out towards Admiral Bulldog himself. I'm not entirely sure why Waga isn't playing. I wasn't able to check his Twitter before this game went live, but hopefully Hopefully he's feeling alright, and hopefully he'll be able to get back to his team soon enough. We had a difficult situation in the Southeast Asian qualifiers for Epicenter as well, where Execration unfortunately were forced to play without their mid player. And it looks like LeftOneTV might be the second one to bite the dust if the stand-in situation fails them. Admiral Bulldog will attempt to put up a good show though. Meanwhile, OG takes out the Witch Doctor from the pool. Very stable 5 position hero, just gives you a lot of control over in the early game as well versus the dual lane metagame that is currently going on. Even in a trial lane, it's not too horrible. Maledict gives you a lot of damage extended over time. So if the opponent goes for a bit of a tankier hero, then would be even more effective in that regard. LOTV though, they're starting to dip into their reserve time. And as far as picks go, I would be very surprised if they reveal their mid or their carry early on. And I'm assuming that this should be a Razor going up towards the offlane aggressively, maybe with the Dusk, maybe with another hero, because of course you want to be able to punish the Chen, who is going to be spending a lot of his time in the jungle or rotating around. Or at least you can save yourself some attention from the Chen and his creeps. But Bane comes through, and it will be an it's an interesting pick because here's the thing, it's a very good pairing with the Razor, but it's also incredibly good at being able to pressure down the mid lane. So mid lane, which is generally interchangeable between No-Tail and Resolution, who both pick up the mid lane depending on who exactly is going to be playing what hero. Rezo is very good on his Invoker in particular, something that was showcased against Alliance recently. But there's Fly's Rubik that comes through. It's a very stable hero. It's a very staple hero for him as well. He's been playing it for a very long time. He's one of the better Rubik players there currently does exist. And they've seen some success with it, even though the Gyrocopter isn't there, which is what they normally like to pair it up with. Rezo's Gyrocopter combined with the Rubik coming out from Fly can be a very aggressive and a very defensive lane as well. Rocket Barrage pairs up very effectively with Telekinesis, and of course you've got your ability to be able to make sure no one can come close enough to the Gyrocopter to punish his low.
OG's turn to pick.
2. It's a hero that could see some it's a hero that could see some more interest given the fact that
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Radiant team back. OG's turn to ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. OG's turn to pick. Team pick.
Devourer.
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Invoker.
You may now select your heroes.
Right. Hopefully we're not losing too much, and hopefully we're not gonna have this problem again, because I actually tested the stream for about an hour before I went live anyway, because yesterday we had the same problems, and I was feeling so happy that we aren't having any issues with Twitch today. Unfortunately, that simply isn't the case, and we will be getting into this anyway. So out is a real question, and like I said before, I'm slightly interested to see how exactly this Invoker is going to be doing up against No-Tail in the middle lane. No-Tail, perhaps somewhat less of the incredibly skilled kind of mid players that teams are. Well, that being said, both teams are going to go down towards the mid lane, put the Observer Ward down. And this is something I actually noticed when I was watching a few replays. It's very interesting. You prefer to not smoke up and prefer to just put the Observer Ward on their own side of the map, while Southeast Asian teams generally smoke up and go aggressive across the river and put it on the other side. What's going on? But that being said, we're getting back into it. I've confirmed that the stream is up and healthy, and thank God, I'm sigh for relief. My apologies again to everyone who was watching before. Now, this observer ward might have been scouted out being planted, the Radiant side one that is, and hopefully it will be dewarded soon enough, unless it was planted from going up from the high ground, which is entirely possible, but it's maybe not the most likely thing in the world. Bulldog playing on that puck will be going off towards the off lane, and we'll be interested to see how exactly this ends up panning out for them. In the meanwhile, Stormer, I'm just going to call him Storm because otherwise I will mess up in team fight. Storm going down towards the middle lane will be blocking his own creeps. That's not something you see every day of the week. But what's going on over here is Bulldog rotating out lanes. So Razor will maybe end up in the off lane like I was hoping, because they've just scouted out the fact that Terrorblade himself is trying to go down towards the off lane. Terrorblade himself is trying to go back and make sure that he gets the better lane matchup. He doesn't want to go up against... I'm surprised he doesn't want to go up against the Puck, actually. Puck doesn't do that well compared to what the Razor manages to do to you, but hey, maybe they were expecting the Razor to come down towards the offlane initially instead of having to rotate out later on. But let's see how this matchup pans out, and let's see how S4 is going to be doing, because of course, remember, Tiny versus the Razor is an absolutely horrific matchup. So if you want to prioritize your Razor's farm rather than try and shut down the Terrorblade, that can be one of the options you go for. I don't know why you would do that personally, because you do of course have a very, very strong carry here on the Terrorblade, and I would personally prefer that you shut him down. But No-Tail will not be getting too much help down in the middle lane because of Terrorblade's decision to go over towards the off lane. Terrorblade's going to need Terrorblade will be needing one of his supports, and in the middle lane, well, No-Tail is going to be having a hard-fought battle with the Enfeeble on top of him. Fly and Resolution having quite a bit of success recently with this laning combination. To those of you who are just tuning in, Bulldog is indeed standing in on the puck, which is probably why a couple of you are tuning in the first place. In which case, welcome, all the Bulldog lovers or haters, whatever you might be. I'm very interested to see how exactly this game will be panning out in terms of the all chat. I'm really hoping to see some all chat coming through from Bulldog and S4. Of course, everyone knows they're former teammates from the legendary Alliance squad that was able to win the TI3. But it seems like so far it's been a slightly slow beginning to the game. No real aggression coming through despite a couple of rotations coming out in the mid lane. And Coupe, there's a regen rune out over there, picks it up, won't be able to make much use of it. No-Tail going forward. They're trying to maybe block him in, but they don't have very much damage to speak of. Now with two Enfeebles out, they don't have anything whatsoever. No-Tail needs to be careful. He's actually being sent back by the Chen, and he will be able to come back having his mana and HP refreshed. But like I said, this Bane is making it slightly nightmarish for him, pun intended. And in the meanwhile, Sure is not doing as well as I thought he would versus the Tiny either. So LOTV, nothing really looking up for them beyond maybe the fact that they are pretty convincingly shutting down No-Tail in towards that mid lane, even though as far as experience goes, he still should be fairly far ahead. That isn't the case, surprisingly enough. Wasn't watching enough of the mid lane to know why that isn't the case, but now Bulldog used his orb. He needs to be careful. He's being slowed down, and the long range ice shard's beautifully done, but Fly brings him right back, and they're going to be able to pursue right up. A second till the orb comes back, and they realize it, so now they've got to be careful because they can be caught out. There is the snowball. Even if it doesn't have too much mana left to use the ice shards, he can just use the magic stick and come right back up. Rezo with his first metamorphosis is unable to get a kill, and now he might even be going down as they're still moving forward. Brain Sap comes through, beautiful body blocks from Coupe as well, and he gets the kill easily done. Can someone in the chat tell me if it's Coupe or Coupe? I'm assuming it's Coupe actually. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing it preemptively. Names are very difficult when it comes to the European scene. It's you need to basically know everyone's local dialect and how they pronounce it to know what they want it to be. It always gets somewhat confusing. That's why both North American and Southeast Asian are fairly easy to handle. China's a whole different ball game, man. I can't even read those initials. And well, speaking of can't even read, Coupe might be getting a bad read out on towards the middle lane. He's having himself body blocked up as well. Resolution felt that pain earlier on, but now No-Tail trapped up in the shards. They've got the Sunstrike to follow through. Beautifully done. No-Tail will be going down with one last right click from Storm. And it will be a quick kill despite Chen trying to rotate through. This laning stage is not starting off well whatsoever. for the OG side, and that's why they've rotated Resolution back towards the top lane, surprisingly enough, to play up against the Razor. But look at this, they're still pursuing forward, they're trying to return fire. Fly does not have any abilities, does not have any mana to use said abilities regardless. Snowball will be used, and with one more net, they would have been able to get the kill had the neutral creep not finished him off instead. Still, this might end up coming back to bite them, and the bite comes from the teeth of Jerax. Not Jerax, sure. Jerax is taking away those teeth, and he's being sent back in the process of doing so. Dota TV having some issues. Good old Dota TV. Always ye old faithful. Well, this is a problematic, but hopefully it won't be too much so. Problems will be beginning for the Radiant side, though, as Admiral Bulldog goes down towards the bot lane. It seems like the Avalanche toss combo was successful, but aggression will be coming through on top as well, as they are smoked out behind them. Do they have vision? Seems like they should, especially now that they're going in on the Terrorblade, but Terrorblade might go down before his backup can come through. Magic Stick will not be helping you. One more right click from the Razor will do the trick, and now Fly comes in from the sideline. He's enfeebled up, chasing after QP as well. QP, oh my goodness, this name. After Cube and as well. And it will be sure to get a double kill. SH continues forward. Jerax will go down. And it's a triple to completely convincingly take over that top lane. This is getting even more difficult despite that one kill they were able to get, despite getting a little bit more in terms of farm across the map. These kills are going far too heavily in the favor of the Radiant side. And they're just going to be able to shrine up and get back to it. I will say this though, in the couple of games that I was able to watch, admittedly not too many, of OG, they weren't doing that hot in the laning phase. They're not really lane dominators from what I saw in their recent DAC performances. Of course, in the past that was different, but we're heading back into it. Jerax and Fly now again with the smoke attempt to come through. This will be a lot of time wasted for Jerax and Fly, both of them sitting at that level 3 mark, while the Radiant side supports have already started to level up as well, especially considering the fact that Bulldog with the superb vision, they do actually realize this is going on. So Bulldog gets back. Bulldog might be scouted out by this ward. No, not even that will be happening, as S4 is getting aggressive, and Bulldog should realize this. Gotta be careful. This orb might not be able to save himself over here. Avalanche toss combo, stun to follow through. One more right click from Jerax, and that's a very dead puck. And I will say this, Bulldog played that very well, understanding that there was the gank, but slightly unfortunate with the choice of creeps from Chen. He had all the stuns in the world, just enough to be able to kill him before he could get the orb or the phase shift off. Or at least try and hope for some backup to come through. But middle lane, again, OD, last hits might not be telling you the full story of this matchup, because this one death changes quite a bit. His opponent has got the boots, his opponent has got the damage, and well, his opponent could bring him down if they want to rotate out again onto him. But middle lane is not our attention. Where they're going to be going is the bot lane. Jerax barely avoids the Sunstrike by trying to get aggressive on the other side. Cupid getting stunned up. One more right click from S4 will do that trick. Fly in the meanwhile will be looking over towards the back line, where Hopti is still there, is still trying to go through, has got the brain sap, will use it on Jerax, and it will give him a bit more HP to work with. However, the stuns come through. There's going to be a follow-up pretty soon by the Centaur Warrunner. They just need the movement speed to be able to catch up to him. Rubik does have the lift and will be using it as soon as he gets vision, but the Ice Shard seem to have interrupted their attempt to continue pursuing on to the Bane for a little while at least. In the meanwhile, top lane, tower goes down to Razor, and they're still being led on a merry hunt. These supports from the Dire side. Bane is actually a lot lower level than I thought he would be at this stage. Bulldog as well not doing too great. So even though I said that OG isn't really having a great laning stage, they're not having a terrible one either. It's really just the Razor that you need to worry about. And well, it's there's a lot of worrying to be done about SH. A lot of worrying. 46. A 5-minute delay makes it very difficult for me to see what is the pronunciation, like coming through from the chat, and everyone's saying cube. Okay, you know what, let's just go with cube. There's 4 people who've said cube. Let's just stick to it. Why not? I can blame them later on. It's your fault for messing up the broadcast. not the person who's supposed to research it. Bad. Oh dear, No-Tail's getting caught out. This is bad omen. There's a Ream Coil to follow through as well, but nice Astral Imprisonment might actually be able to keep him alive for a little while longer. Sunstrike damage is split across both him and Fly, and with that they're able to turn things around. 2 quick kills for them, and onwards through the tower they will go. They've got the regen creep as well, so No-Tail doesn't have to worry too much about his HP being low, and with that they will very quickly attempt to take down this tower, and they should be successful in doing so as well. Look at how Fly actually immediately afterwards went right up close and personal with the No-Tail OD. That was very well done, because if not, OD taking the full damage with Sunstrike might have allowed them to be able to get him to fall back, or at least get him, or maybe even get him to go down. Meanwhile, they get another kill as Bulldog tries to go in. That might not have been the best of decisions you've made this entire game, Bulldog. S4 will be traded away, so it's still somewhat fair and somewhat reasonable, especially if they can get the kill on Fly. This will make things a little bit more favored in their side. However, Jerax attempting to send him back will be stopped, and his ice shards will be a little bit hard. It will be a little bit hard to actually catch up to him, though he's already so far away. Even though Plasma Field will be able to catch him out temporarily. Why is he going down? This takes him further away from his own tower. They're trying to TP in some more support, but he might be caught out. Sunstrike is there, and it lands. Storm finally gets a snipe from across the map. And now, despite the TPs coming through from the now reincarnated Fly, they won't quite be able to do too much. Cube. Oh, Cube. You know what's slightly frustrating as well? LOTV, okay, we can talk about that in a second. I know what's frustrating for No-Tail. No-Tail needs to turn around, try and get that Astral Imprisonment out. Will be able to do so successfully, but really he's being a nuisance and nothing else. He realizes he should be going, what? Oh my god, No-Tail, are you going to live? No, you're not. No, you're not. I got so scared for a second. Nice toss back from the Tiny, making sure that SH can't really keep him locked in that chain. But now SH is turning around. He's got the ultimate. I have the Storm is ready to go. Fly goes down to a brain sap. They're trying to get more damage through, but Razor's already down and out. S4 doesn't have any spells to work with, so he's being sent back. Jerax says, I will sacrifice myself for you, my brother. And he will sacrifice himself to the gods of the sun. Storm shuts him down. What's really frustrating, getting back to it, even though, you know, that was a fight where we should have probably given some analysis of how Razor was able to keep himself alive and was able to do so much, but they get overzealous, not understanding the amount of firepower that actually comes through from the OG lineup. However, as I was saying, what's a little bit frustrating is the fact that this Viper icon, that's their logo, keeps making me think and suddenly be very shocked for a second. Why did I miss a Viper? How has there been a Viper all game long? There's been a snake in their pants though. That's OG. Astral Imprisonment comes out onto himself to try and save No-Tail, but he's gonna that Sanity's hammered it. Absolutely nothing else. Eclipse will be basically a small little kitten. No damage whatsoever. No-Tail's intelligence somewhat low, sitting on about 53, and Invoker sitting on 61, so of course he's not going to be taking any damage whatsoever. Resolution takes down the tower, and he's starting to catch up to the Razor despite having a shakier laning stage than Razor did. Razor definitely has had a couple of deaths, and despite his 5 kills, Rezo's just been doing such a good job of keeping his farm up. 97 last hits 13 minutes in is very impressive with the amount of pressure that was actually put on him. Buck, in the meanwhile, as we saw before as well, has managed to finish off his Veil of Discord. Blink Dagger is en route, about a 1250 gold away or so, and that's going to be the big window of opportunity for the LOTV to try and exploit. Jerax, though, might be exploited over here. Cube sees him, lets his smoke dissipate, says that he's providing some intimidation value, but he doesn't realize that Jerax is literally has an army. Literally an entire bloody army. 4 creeps now up and rolling, quite a few of those disablers. While Bane is still level 5, 14 minutes in, not got that Fiend's Grip. And I talked about this earlier on, that despite those kills, Bane suddenly, after getting the first 5 or so kills when they were up 5-1, Bane started not being able to get experience anymore because he wasn't sitting in a lane. After they get so successful and there is a pause, that allows us to work around a little bit more. I think, I'm pretty sure Bulldog's about to get scolded. Yep. I knew it. I knew it. I should not be so satisfied about this. I'm just happy that I knew the rule book, honestly, nothing else. Oh, Bulldog. It with Epicenter. This time, though, you are in the lobby, so I think they're in the clear. I think they are indeed in the clear. Resolution is suddenly sweating bullets because he's realizing, wait, who are we going to stream snipe now? How do we know what they're doing? Of course, that's not true. Of course, that's not true. You know, OG, standout gentleman of the game. Now, where was that before? Right, so the Bane, after they were up 5-1, Bane stopped leeching experience from other sides. Bane stopped getting experience across the board, and that's put him very far back. And without the Fiend's Grip, you're seeing the effect of that too, where OD is getting out so much damage in these team fights, where Terrorblade can't be Fiend's Gripped up once he's in that metamorphosis. And that is coming back to bite them, which is why I would really like to see Havite's experience be prioritized a little bit more, moving in towards that 17-18 minute mark, and try and prioritize getting a couple of kills with that Fiend's Grip perhaps, so you can make up for the damage that there is there as well. Jerax might have been chased down had that Ice Shard not actually blocked him out. Brings his creeps back to himself, and in the process of doing so will deny 1 creep's worth of farm, but oh, actually, hold that thought. Picks up the creep immediately afterwards in 2, and so that's 2 creeps worth of farm denied. Good job, Jerax. Woohoo! You're doing a great job, Jerax. I don't know why I did that. The game's getting a little bit slow. This is what happens when the game gets slow, guys. Tea time gets slower. No till. His force staff is still quite far away. He's definitely the one core on the dire side who's been suffering the most. Tiny is doing very well for himself, sitting at 6,000 net worth. He's got his drums, he's got his blink dagger. S4 is pretty much set. We've already discussed how far the Terrorblade has managed to get himself up, and he is actually moving over towards the Manta style. Has got the Yasha already. Has actually accelerated his farm across the Razor. It's been a while since he did that. SH will be attempting to regain his lead in the net worth department, while Fly very casually sitting inside the trees hoping to get some more experience. I do find this ward interesting. It was placed quite earlier on, so I suppose at that time it made slightly more sense. But Bulldog goes forward. Fly, be careful. If you have Bulldog catch you on, that might be a slightly difficult situation to get yourself out of. Invis Rune on BDN, but No-Till himself, like I said, doesn't have the farm to be able to try and take down a man, and he can't really pursue forward. That Invis Rune might have actually made them think that there is a ward over there, and indeed they did. They waste up a sentry trying to deal with it. And very soon afterwards, they realized that No-Till did in fact have an invisibility rune, which is what was giving them the vision. Rezo scouted out. And Bulldog's got his blink dagger, and I talked about this being the window of opportunity for LOTV to exploit, and that's why they're actually smoking up. Surprisingly though, it's without their 2 big damage dealers. One of those big damage dealers might actually be damaged down to oblivion. SH should be going down over here. Sunstrike will damage up. S4, oh my goodness, SH, you have got larger stones than I do, and you will be able to make good use of them. Gets 1 kill. Toss from downtown. It's Kobe, and he's got the dunk. SH goes down. Still, the kill on Fly, quite impressive. Almost getting 1 onto S4 as well, forcing him back, and that's what is going to allow them to get their rotation out. Use the smoke to take down the secondary support. The blink dagger is showcased for just a kill on the Chen, though effectively. I don't really know what I think about that. Especially with the Razor already down and out, you can't really try and push through. Bane, you're giving back up to the Invoker, and this might lead up to a kill onto Resolution. They've got an Observer Ward to be able to scout him out. If he gets a Fiend's Grip onto the Terrorblade, they have no way of stopping it. It's a great pair up to try and combine with the Sunstrike and all the damage combination that Invoker does, of course, bring to the table. If he's close by enough, you can even chuck down a Meteor if you're feeling particularly ambitious, or if you're feeling particularly spiteful. No-Till with his completed force staff is still 6th on the net worth chart, while Razor is slowly trying to maintain relevance, even though the gap between him and the Terrorblade seems to be increasing minute by minute. Gan catches out Bane. They've realized where he is. Are they smoked up? It looks like they might be, but they're not. It's only their positioning that makes me think that. Force Staff is at the ready, which is why Terrorblade might be able to catch out one, but Terrorblade's got out himself. He's going to move forward. Astral Imprisonment keeps him alive, and now Terrorblade will be able to come back with a vengeance. S4 blinks forward as well. Do they have a way to stun him up? Yes, they do. Avalanche catches him out, but in the meanwhile, Invoker, the larger fish, has gotten away before he could be fried. No, dare Cube. Cube, be careful, because this Shen is he's coming after you with his one satyr. He's got a donkey to ride on and a satyr as his best friend, who's probably going to die very soon and be replaced, kind of like all of our best friends. Or is that just me? Is that just me? Whoa, nice blink away. Invoker blinks forward aggressively. Chen will be the one to go down. And now the hammer being dropped. Storm will be traded away. But Fly making me nervous, making me think there is a Razor in the vicinity. But Razor's all too far away. SH even using his Eye of the Storm to farm up, because he says, you know what, Invoker's probably not going to buy back. Probably not going to buy back. We're probably going to lose a tier 2 anyway. But no, he actually wants to fight this up. So Eye of the Storm will still be up and running for another 15 seconds or so. No-Tail zoning him out though, because Razor still does realize that Astral Imprisonment, if he gets caught out in it, then regardless of how farm No-Tail is, then the Razor should be dead to rights. Still, Invoker with the blink. I'm not sure if the blink forward aggressively was intentional in terms of dodging the avalanche intentionally, or it was just premeditated and he just happened to do it, because that could have been a blink backwards to try and keep himself alive. The Invoker traded off earlier on for Chen. Probably not really the most worth it, but hey, obviously premeditated decisions can make you feel jittery. It's understandable, really. What is less understandable, though, is Radiant's lack of vision across the map. And, of course, Jarax's positioning gets forced out. Nicely done. And now they're going to continue forward. Razor stunned up by the Centaur, and he will be going down. S4 manages to TP in, blink forward, toss back, and finish off the task, or at least force him into a snowball. One more right-click from Jarax, though, will be the finishing blow for Hobbite. And Tusk blinking down. He had the blink dagger to be able to maintain his mobility. Shen goes forward. It's a donkey with a dream. And that dream will be ending along with his life. Bulldog chucks out a couple of spells in the middle of that team fight, and that's his contribution. That's done. That's it. And unfortunately, star power aside, you know, celebrity, and Bulldog really is just a celebrity at this point. He doesn't really seem to be keeping up too effectively with the high level of play that is going on the S4 side. On the OG side, I've turned this into S4 versus Bulldog already. What an absolute dream this is. Storm needs to blink away. He blinks it forward aggressively once again. This time though, this was the correct decision to make. The tree will not be able to catch up to him. And Fly, Fly, be careful. You are being tagged down very heavily, down to 400 HP already. Chucks out the Sunstrike behind him. Invoker banished up, so they've got enough time to be able to blink forward, throw out an avalanche. Do they have detection? Of course they do. Fly always has detection. It's not like, oh dear, resolution. He's detected a Bane, and he managed to bring him down as well. And this again goes back to the fact that Radiant simply don't have ward vision. And oh no, Bulldog, please not this again. Resolution's been scouted out at least, so they know to back off. But SH is getting aggressive. This isn't the right decision to make. There's backup coming in from behind SH. He realizes that, and he's going to live up to his name, quiet down, and back off immediately afterwards. But who didn't back off? It was Bulldog himself. And well, it's unfortunate, but might be safe to say that this game is looking very difficult for the Radiant side to come back into. They've got some decent turtling power, but even that turtling power will be tossed back. SH caught out, will be going down. The snowball keeps him alive for a little while longer, but that little while is truly minuscule, as he will be taking a fall. Resolution, double kill for him. Tower will soon be added to his piggyback as well. And look at this machine gun Terrorblade. Machine gun Terrorblade indeed. Resolution's gonna do whatever he can. It's a okay attempt at being able to kite it out a little bit, being able to push them back a little bit, but barracks are going to fall pretty much any day of the week at that stage, and they should just be happy that more will not be lost, considering the fact that all the cooldowns are still up on the Dire side. They are instead going to prioritize going over towards the Roshan pit, more likely than not. They can take down the tier 1 tower while they're at it, and the shrine that, of course, does allow you so much more access towards Roche. Take away some of the map control, then feel a little bit more safe, as you are going to be targeting the Roshan, the stony man, Rocky McRockhouse himself, Mr. Rock and Roll. I'm running out of things to do with stones. Cube, running out of life as well pretty soon. The Sunstrike is a feeble attempt to tickle S4, and well, it tickles him at least, if nothing else. Shadowblade up, S4 backing off, picks up the Bounty Rune in this meanwhile. Fly tagged down pretty substantially, but even that really just delays the inevitable, as the tier 1 tower will go down, and they're coming in from behind, and they're gonna blink forward. BDN is initiating in. There's a 2-man dream call, but it will not matter. Immediately afterwards, they throw out a Sanity's Eclipse. The hammer is dropped, and so are 4 of LOTV. Fly even managing to get 2 kills in there with a Fade Bolt, and they will just continue forward. Roshan be damned, they just want to go for higher ground. They just want to go for the secondary Raxes. And in the meanwhile, Storm is going to be alone on the anti-push, alone in the counter-push. Aghanim Scepter very far away from him. Otherwise, maybe he could have held a couple of these players off with the Razor buyback coming through as well. However, the only big cooldown that isn't there is the Metamorphosis, and even that will be coming back in 10 seconds or so. This is a Invoker who's really just being a nuisance more than anything relevant, as they are going to be backing off towards the Roche Pit, more likely than not. Radiant Vision won't be allowing them to see what exactly is going on, and well, Radiant Map Control will not be allowing them to move into the Roche Pit either. Bottom lane is pushing in. I believe it's pushing in. Yeah, that's pushing in. Jarax has got his Aghanim Scepter up and going. Ancients will very soon start to be picked up. And in the meanwhile, Flies farmed up more than anything else. I will give a quick shout out to the Bane though. Bane, I feel for you, man. 1100 gold, 1100 net worth on you. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they smoke up right underneath an observer. They get their smoke scouted out as well immediately afterwards. They will not be able to fight up into this high ground. And well, OG realizes that they've positioned themselves. They're going in, blink forward. They should have been able to get the first kill, but they initiated on the wrong target. That's why Dusk has a snowball. He's going to be able to keep himself alive as well. Turn around from Admiral Bulldog. Nice 3-man dream call, but the range is not enough to keep him alive. And now Bane will be next to fall, as Dota TV will continue to lag up. We're going to see the OG team blinking forward as a group and finding one more. Dusk may buy back, but Storm is going to go down regardless. Resolution seems like that's going to be his first death in a very long time. And in the meanwhile, he did, of course, trade his life away for the tier 3 tower. A fair trade, and a Fly keeping himself alive, as Cube, who did buy back, is struggling to do the same. And struggling to make sure that if he go, oh dear, no tail, blinking forward, Dragonlance up. Not the Dragonlance, a Hurricane Pike up. And he started off weak. He was not doing too hot throughout most of the game, but No-Tail is now back up in the top 3 net worth charts where he belongs. These past few team fights have definitely secured that position for him. Blink forward, hammer drop, one more hit, and now onto Cube they go. He tried to get out that Walrus Punch, but GG will be called while he's still imprisoned up. His teammates decide that he's going to go down regardless. May as well spare him some Bane and make it a quick death. And with that, OG dominating game number 1 are going to be moving forward into game number 2.